Welcome to my new course on machine coding round for clearing React interviews. So I am talking about I'm Sarthak Mansal. I have around 7 years of experience in these front-end technologies. So I have worked in various domains across various organizations to provide front-end solutions. I was pained due to recent scenarios in the market that a lot of people of our fraternity are getting laid off. So I decided to make a helping video course to help people clear the machine coding rounds in interview for React. I have tried to make this course free of cost, so it will be free for all to help you all land a job in your field. I'm not a professional course maker, so please bear with me during the course. In this course, you will learn by making small projects that are asked in actual interviews of various organizations. I have collected this question through various friends of mine that are working in industry, and also I have gone through interviews, and I'm also have taken interviews. So these are the main. I have curated the list of coding questions that are being asked in most of the interviews. So these are the most common questions that I have created. So it will help you in better preparations. I have tried my best to make the videos sharp and crisp and as short as possible, and not to stretch that for to and not to stretch these videos to be long. So it would be of great help to you. And also all the videos, all the small projects, I have hosted all the projects on StackBlitz platform, so it will be of a great help to you for revising it fast. So let's start with the course. Hello everybody, in this video we will develop a star rating plugin in React. So this is among the lesser asked question in interviews for React. For this we have created a separate component star rating.js and imported it into app.js. So we'll, as a standard practice, we'll start working on this component. Now we need props that will define us the limit of our stars. Like if there will be rating will be out of 5 or 10 stars, so we will get it from the props. If the props are not given by default, we can give it as 5. So we have to find limit and taken it from props. So now we can work on a JSX. So we will create an array from the limit using the new keyword, and using the key iterator we will make an array of the given number of elements that are given in limit. So if we get console log it, and we can see it is getting an array of 5 digits. So we place limit here, and we can see it in console of our given right panel, and we can see that it is getting the array of the given limit. So on parent element we will give the prop as 10. The limit prop is 10 now, and the array of 10 is being made. So we will remove the console log here, and we will apply the map operator on it, and we will generate relevant star according to the limit amount given. So we have created this map element, and we will create a span inside of it, and given the key for each of the iteration. So we have given I here, and because each of the array has a unique ID, because we are getting it with the iterator. And as we can see, 10 stars are being printed. Here star is you can copy any emoji from the internet, or if you're on Windows 11 you can use Windows plus dot and select the star emoji from the keyboard. So we will create a state of rating. So it will be rating that can be given. So limit is the maximum star that are available, and rating is the rating given to it. Here default value of rating is 2, and if we give class name conditionally based upon this rating. So if I is less than rating, for each iteration that is less than rating, we will give a particular class name of star plus rated, and if the value is exceeding the rating, we will give only star. So if we check it on our website, if you inspect that, we can see that only for the first iteration the star rated was given. So we can also take this rating props from the parent. Instead of using a static value of 2, we can take it from the props, and if the props are not given, we have taken the default value as 2. Now here, based upon the class condition that we have put, we will apply some CSS to make star filled or empty. So for that we have included style.css in app.js, and if we put the content as star, we can see the star was visible. So we'll apply the basic CSS on this style.css. Now basic CSS has been done, and now we can put our content. I have copied the Unicode for star filled and empty from the internet. You can use any symbol. So on our star rating.js, we have to use onClick event for changing the rating as a user click the particular star. For that we will create another function called handle click, and on click of that star, handle click will be called. and inside of handle click we will set the rating of that particular star that was clicked by using data attribute that we will give one particular star based on the index. So we will use e.target.get attribute data, and it will not work as of now. We have to convert it into decimal, and also we have to give the data attribute. So data attribute should be I+1 here because index should start from 0. So as you can see, it is now working perfectly fine. If we see on bigger browser also and we open the React Dev tool, we can see the state is changing according to the star is clicked. So it is working fine. On default load it is 5 because we have given the rating of 5 in the parent. So we can change on click of any star the given star is clicked. So to improve the further performance, we can use event delegation and give the one-click handler once on the top level. So in this way we can optimize our app further. So now we have given the limit of 5 and rating of 2. So then it is also working fine now. Now we can do we can import use state, and instead of using react.use state we can import the use state to improve it further. And if you don't want to use this class name to achieve this star functionality, you can directly use emojis inside of the HTML element like I have used here. So you can use any of the emoji from Windows plus dot if you're on Windows 11. Otherwise you can copy emoji from internet. So in this way you don't have to use CSS contents. So now if you give a cursor as pointer and select any of the smiley, accordingly the smileys will be sad or happy. So that's all for this video. Thank you. This video we will see how we can make a search app that can search through a list of data. So this is moderately asked interview question. So it is very easy to make. So for this we will first import use state from the React. So basically we will make a list and we will make an input element, and whatever we will be typing in that input element, so the list will be updating accordingly if the data is present. So for that we have made a state of list, and the initial data we will put an array of fruits here, so like apple, kiwi and pears. So if we search an apple, then only apple will be displayed, and if we search nothing, all the 3 fruits will be displaying. So for that we will make a input tag. So use state spellings are wrong, so we will correct that. So in input tag we will write a placeholder to search anything. So we will write type to search is inside of input tag. So placeholder spelling is wrong, so we will correct that. Now it is working fine. So we will create a ULLI below this input tag in which we will iterate over the fruits array, and we will be displaying all the fruits in an li format. So for that we will just make iterate over the list through map method, and inside of li we will write the each of the fruit. We will also attach key to this iterations so that the output should be optimized. Now if we try to search anything in this input, so we are unable to do because we haven't written the onChange event inside of input tag. So we will write an onChange event here inside of input tag, and we will just pass a callback function, and we will set the search text whatever the person is typing through event.target.value. So we will create another state of this text, and we will set the search text accordingly whatever the user is typing. So we will create another state here. So the name will be search text, and we can use this set search text as it is. So initial value should be empty string, so all the 3 fruits are displaying. So now we will create another variable that will be the updated list that will be showing to the user according to whatever the user has typed. So we will create a variable called search result, and we can filter this results based on the user input, and so we can filter on the list. So inside of filter we can write the logic of filtering. For that we can convert everything user type and everything in the list to the lowercase and compare them. So we will see that whatever user type is included in the list or not. If whatever user type is included in the list, we will filter that only. So item.lowercase.includes. So search text also need to be in lowercase for proper testing of includes. So now it is ready. Just we need to change this list.map in a template to the updated search results. So we have changed it. Now we can test our app. So if we type apple, only apple will be displayed. If we type kiwi, only kiwi will be displayed, and similar fashion other fruits will be displayed. As you can see, the implementation was easy, and it is very easy question to crack. Thank you. That's all for this video. In this video we will make browser. So it is one of the most asked interview question for reacting machine coding rounds. So for making carousel, first thing we have to make sure that we create a data array like I have created. So each object in that array should have a unique ID and the relevant title, description, and image URL. So I have created this JSX that is a basic HTML with 2 buttons and one image div. So it has also has H1, H2, and P tag for description and title, etc. So we will start making the carousel from it. So for making carousel, we will create a state for element. Whatever element is selected, to show that element, we will create this current element state. So as you can see, we have used static 0 here, so we will replace it by current item. So current item's default state is 0. Therefore, data pertaining to the 0th element of the array will be loaded. That is with ID 1, and item 1 will be loaded. So we will create on click events for both the buttons, for previous state and the next state. So for previous button, we will create a function with the name previous item, and for the next button, we will create a function next item. Now on clicking of next item button, we should increment the current state by 1. If it is 0, then it should become 1, and if it is 1, then it should become 2, and so on. So we have used set current item and use the previous state and edit it by 1 before returning it. So now we have to check that if our functionality is working for next button or not. So if we click on our next button, so as we can see, if we click on next button for the third item, it is throwing us error, because if we plus 1 by 1 with 3, then there is no fourth item in our list. So we have to do a check here that if the current item is the last item, then we should change the current item to 0. Otherwise, we should add it by 1. So we have written a if else statement for implementing the same. So same thing we can do it with the previous item. So name of the data was items. So we are changing it to items. Now our next button is working fine for each iteration. So we will now develop the functionality for previous item. We will copy the code of next item. Just we will change the logic. So if the current item is 0, then we should set the current item as the last item. Otherwise, we should reduce the current item by 1. So now we will check the next item is working fine, and previous is also working fine. So our manual transition through buttons of carousel is working fine. So now we will implement the automatic transitions for the carousel. For that, we will make a use effect and we will initialize a timer in it. Like we can set a timer, like for every 2 seconds it will change the state of the current item to the next. So now we have created a constant timer and assigned a set interval to it. So after every 2 seconds, the next item function will be called and the state will be changed to next. And in this fashion, our carousel will run fine. But we have to keep in mind that we have to add a dependency for current item. If current item changes, then we have to start the timer again. So also we have to clear the timer after the state is unmounted. So we will return a function here with the timer that will be cleared with it. If you don't clear interval timer on the unmounting in use effect, then on click of each next button, there will be a lot of timers that will be running, and our state will be not updating accurately. So now we have done everything, and our carousel is working fine. It is automatically working, and if we click on any button, then the functionality of button will take the precedence over the automatic working of carousel. So like if we click next, it is working fine. So there is no anonymous behavior in the timer as we have cleared the timer, and if we click on previous, it takes precedence. So that's all for this video, everybody. So in this video, we will be making an app for sorting API data and viewing it in tabular format. So it is very commonly asked question. So it will provide us a URL, and we have set up a basic table boilerplate template here. So we will first try to fetch the data from URL. So we are using fetch, and then we will convert whatever response we get into JSON format. So we will return response.json. So it is an asynchronous method. So we will return response.json here, and we will chain another then here, and in that we will get the data in JSON format. So we will console log that data. So we will see whatever we are getting in our console. So we will just console log the data here, and if we see it in our console, as you can see, we are getting a lot of data, but we are interested in only this data. So we will just console log this. So it is an array of objects, and each object has first name and last name that we need to display along with email. So what we will do is we will also we have to write the production ready code. So in our interviews, so we just catch if any error comes, we will console that error. So it is good practice to catch the errors. So after this we will uh, we will make a state above that will be table data, and set table data to set our whatever data we are getting. We will store that data in this state. In our template we will iterate over our table data. So table data is collection of objects in array. So we will use a map function here, and we will iterate over each object, and we will display our first name, last name, and email accordingly. So we have placed our row and td inside of this map function, and is our each item of the array, that is a single object inside of an array. So in first td we will use this curly braces. In second also, in first we will display first name and last name, and in second we will display the email. So we can write item dot first name and item dot last name on the first td, and in second td we can write item dot email. So it will be displaying fine if we have data in our table dot data. So our next step would be to whatever data we are consoling, to set the data in table dot data. For that we will be using set table data, and we will be passing data to data inside of it. And as you can see, it goes into infinite loops in console, so it is making infinite fetch calls. So that's why we have to use a use effect in React with empty dependency to run it once. So we will make a use effect, we will create a use effect here, and we will copy this fetch code inside of this use effect. It is not letting us to copy this code because the browser is hung, so we close that sidebar, and now we can copy it, and we will paste our entire code inside of this use effect, and we will pass the empty dependency array. So it will load just once. As we can see here, it is calling the fetching it twice, so it is due to this strict mode. We can remove it strict mode and just pass the app as it is. Now it is consoling only once, so now it is working fine. We are making only one fetch call, but we are displaying the entire data in tabular format, but we need to sort it by the first name. So for that, after fetching the data and converting it into JSON format, we will sort it here using sort method, and the sorted data then we can set in the table data using set table data. So for using for sorting the data, we can just append the sort method, and we just can compare using the first name like we will do here. So we'll just write a dot first name, and we will use the JavaScript method of local compare, and we will write b dot first name inside of it. So this function just returns 0, 1 or -1 depending upon the order of the first name. You can choose any of the method that seem fit to you. So after using this method, you can see that our names are ordered correctly in ascending order. So C for Charles is at the top and T for Tracy is at the bottom. So our app is complete. Hello everybody. So in this video we are going to see how to develop a to-do list app. So this is the most frequently asked interview question during machine coding round of any ReactJS or any front-end interview. So it is the most important question out of any other questions. So to make a to-do list app, firstly we will create a separate component folder, and inside of it we will create a to-do component, and we will import that to-do component inside of our app.js. So now we will write some boilerplate code in to-do.js. So we will make our app up and running with some boilerplate code by making our separate to-do list component. Now our component is developed. As you can see, we can see to do in our browser on right hand side. So now we can start developing our to do list tab. For making to do list tab, we need one input and one button. On entering any task in input, we can press that button to add that task inside of our list. So we will create the dummy input tag and a button for now in our template, and there will be UL and li in which we will show our list of tasks. So this is our basic template that we are going to build for our to-do list. So we need one state for maintaining our task. So we have imported use state from React, and we create a state to do, and using use state we will add some tasks initially to our states, so that we can see if our list is working or not. So inside of our UL, we will create an li using map operator on to do our tasks. So we have applied map on our to do list, and we will output our list. Whatever there will be in our list, it will be outputted into li. So here we will write I in curly braces. So whatever for each iteration it will run, and for like there is an array in our state. So first iteration would print React, and second iteration would render interview. So in our LIs, first React will be printed, and then on the next iteration interview will be printed, as we can see on right hand side. Now for optimization purpose, we will give key to each iteration. So we are giving I as the key, because in our to-do list, each task will be unique. We will implement in such a way that each task of to-do will be unique. So we can give task as key also. So we have created another state that is text, that is for the user text that is being typed by user into input. That is not a task as of now, but if a person click on add task button, this text will be added to the list, and this text will be cleared from the input. Now for implementing this on input, we have written on change event. Like if for any change in input, we are setting the text state through e.target.value, and on button we have added an on click event, and we are creating a function add task. Whenever a button is clicked, the add task button is clicked, we are setting to dos as the earlier to dos and the updated text into it. Therefore, we are using spread operator on to dos and adding our existing text and creating a new array and setting it into the to dos. Now we have to implement the functionality that every task should be unique in our list. So that we will apply this condition to check if our list is containing the text that user has entered. So if that is the text that user has entered is not included in that list, only then we will set the to dos with the updated text. If like we have added water, so we can't add water more than once. If we have added more water in the to dos, it will check that the water is already included in the list, so then it will not add the water again to the list. So our list will be unique always. Now we will add the functionality that input should be cleared when the add task button is clicked. For this, we will set text as empty string. So as we click on add task button, it is not setting the input as 0, because on our input tag we haven't added the value attribute. So it is not a controlled component as of now. So we will add value is equal to text. So it is controlled now. So when we add water, and now we will set text as empty string. So now if we click add task button, it should clear our input tag. So now it is working. Now we can see that there is another unlike rating that is empty string, because we haven't put the test of null check here. So if text.length is greater than 0, only then we should add the text. So we have we will check it. Now it is working as expected. So our input is cleared, and we are not able to add any duplicate tasks to our list. So our list is complete. Now we will add the delete functionality to our list. This is basically optional in interviews. So for intermediate levels, we are expected to make this delete functionality. It is very easy. So we can add buttons in our map operator. So for each list that is rendered, we will render a delete button along with it, like this. Now we will add a on click event. On clicking of that on click event, we will call this delete to do function, and then we will delete the particular task that for which the delete button has been clicked. For this, we need to pass the task name, that is I in the list. So we will make a callback function in and inside of that callback function we will return this delete to do, and we will pass I, and we will catch that I that is the current task for that particular delete button inside of this delete to do function. And after that, we can apply a filter method on the to-dos according to that received task, and we can filter according to that. So we can set to-dos by applying filter to to-dos, and we can write a logic for checking if I is not equal to like whatever the item is. For each iteration we can check if the item is equal to I or not. So we have taken j here. So if j is not equal to I, then only we will pass them. So here we can check this. If we So we have added a task washing, and we will add another task dressing. So if we delete dressing, dressing will be deleted. If we delete washing, washing will be deleted. So our functionality of delete is working fine. So we can add another functionality. This is optional. So on clicking of enter, we need to add task also. So for that we can add this on key press event, that and we can check if the key is enter. On that we can call this add task function. We can check this functionality here. So as I'm typing washing and clicking enter, it is getting added to the list. So this is completely optional to implement, but if you have time, you can surely implement this enter functionality also. So now we can optimize our app. If you, this is completely optional, and if only interview asks to optimize it, you can do it later. So for that, like, states are not very, we should like avoid using states or hooks whenever possible. So instead of using state for this text, we can use ref keyword here. So we will create a reference for this input and use whatever value this input is having for adding to our task, instead of using the use state. So in ref we have added a callback function, and we have used this variable updated input for capturing the value of this particular input. We will delete all the reference to that earlier state, that is like set text and set text, whatever was used like in value text, everything should be removed. Now after declaring the updated input above, we should pass updated input.value on click of event as a parameter of this add task function. So updated input.value we should pass from here, and we'll catch that as a text from on function as a parameter. Now if we check our app, it is working fine. If we press enter, it is breaking because on add task we haven't given e.target.value. If we give this, our app will run just fine. So this was our to-do app with lot of variations for each type of interview. So hope you like this video, and we'll see you in the next video. This video will develop a VS Code like folder structure. So here we have a parent folder, that is src, and it has two files, and third is a folder, and that folder has sub files. Questions similar to this can be asked, like nested comments, multi-level coding. In this video, we will see how to develop this kind of coding problems. So here we are developing multi-level folder structure. So I have created a separate component folder and included it in app.js. So we have followed all the standards that are possible during development. So as I have created a separate component folder, and for the first thing that we have to keep in mind while developing this type of problems is that we have to create a data file first for each folder. Like we have to create a object with the source app.js and all the key value pairs. So we'll create a data folder, and inside we'll create a file data.js, and inside of file data.js we will create our data. So that data name should be explorer, and we will create a data with the name key, and value should be src. So it will be the first root folder, that will be src, and for each folder we will have an array that's name would be folder items, and that array would contain subsequent data of files, like src folder will have app.js, and the other file would be index.js, and the third one was the folder called styles. So the third element is styles, and it is a folder, so that's why the style should have its own folder items array, and that item should have the particular files like style.css, index.css, and third one would be vendor.css, and so on. We can get any amount of data accordingly, but here this 2 level is sufficient for now. Now we should also export this data by using export default explorer. We should correct the name of spelling of explorer here. So there's an extra C here, so we have omitted that and exported the data. So we can include that data in app.js. There's a reason why we are importing that data into app.js instead of folder.js. We will know why we have included this data file here instead of folder once we have developed our app. After importing data, we should include it as an attribute to our folder component, so we can get it as a prop inside of our folder component. Now we will go to our folder.js, and here we will access that explorer props using this structuring. Now we will access explorer.name here in curly braces to see if we are able to access our data. So now as we can see, we are accessing the src name from explorer, so we are able to access our explorer data successfully in our folder.js. Now we have to develop that expanding functionality, that on click of any folder, the subsequent child should be visible or invisible depending on the present state. For that, we will write this on click event here, and we will create a state here using use state hook. We will import use state from the React at top, and we'll create a const of expanded and set expanded for setting it, and we'll use the use state, and the initial state would be false. Initially it would not be expanded. And in on click callback function, we will return the set expanded, and it would inverse the current state. So if it is expanded, it would collapse, and otherwise it would reverse. Now we will render the number of items that are present in the list or the folder. So app.js and the styles folder, this all were present in source folder, so that we are trying to render here using map operator. So on explorer.items, we will use map operator, and we will render all the items in list. In this div, we will use curly braces, and we will write i.name, so that will print all the files that are at the top level inside of that first src folder. Now we have to give a proper padding to the subsequent folder or the child content to give a proper appearance of a hierarchy. So we will use a style tag here, and we'll give padding of 15 pixel, so that in that manner the folder structure will be appearing a lot better and symbolizing the folder hierarchy. Now one level of functionality has been done. To do it multi-level, we can use recursion here. So instead of div, we can use directly folder here. So we will call folder directly here instead of div. So it will again call this component again and again until the limit is reached. We will also give attribute of explorer, and instead of giving the value as explorer, we will give it as I. Now folder part is done. So we have to give a condition here that if explorer.folder name is present or folder item is present, then only we have to return the above code. And if the folder item is not present and it is a single item name or is file name, then we will write another JSX that should be shown. So as we can see, source and style both are folder, and they both are visible on the if condition, and we can write the else condition, and we can return another code that will show just the file names. So we can return explorer.name in the second condition. So as we can see, our app is just working fine. Our expanding functionality is not working as of now because we haven't given any styles according to our expanded state. So we will give style here. So display should be dependent on the expanded component. If expanded is true, then display should be visible, otherwise it should not be visible. We will give block and none accordingly. And now if we can see, our app is running as expected. If we click on folder, they are expanding and collapsing. So our functionality is achieved. Now we have to show that folder icons and file icons in front of them. For that we can use this expanded state, and we can show open folder and a close folder accordingly in front of folder files. So above render is for folders and below render is for files. So for above render we have shown open file, and we can show closed file, and in below case accordingly we can show a simple page here. So our app is working fine, and all the folder and pages icon are also working fine. We can include more levels inside of style folder, and we can see it is also working fine. So our entire functionality is achieved. So that's all for this video. Thank you.